I will say good morning because I don't want to be rude. So good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well out there. Good to see you. Good to see my friend Tone DeShields. I am Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take. Hi, everybody in the chat. Hi, everybody streaming, everybody listening. Hope you guys have yourselves a great Tuesday. I really do, because the Eagles went a long way to crap all over your late Tuesday night or late Monday night and Tuesday morning. That is for sure. Tone, first off, how are you, man? How you making out?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right, man. Just always staying on the grind. Always keep my my eyes peeled and my ears open. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's a good Tuesday. It's a good Tuesday,
Okay.
man. I woke up this
Okay.
morning. I'm healthy, man. That's all I can ask for these days.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. Your eyes open, your feet hit the ground. It's a good thing. But from a
Yeah.
football perspective, which is different from life
Oh
perspective,
yeah, absolutely.
this
Sometimes it
was,
becomes too close to real
yeah.
life. Sometimes it starts to affect the real
Yeah.
life, and that's the part that I'm still trying to master, right? I'm still trying to keep at bay, not allowing
Yeah.
some of these games and these performances to dictate how my day goes. So
No, I hear
let's
you.
try to do that today.
All right. Well, I don't know if we're going to be able to do that, but we'll try. All right. So a couple different things here. Absolutely disgraceful, unacceptable loss last night to the Seahawks, 20-17, in a game in which you had a late lead and you allowed Drew Lock, not Drew Brees, okay, not to be confused with Patrick Mahomes or even Joe Burrow. You allowed Drew Lock to drive you down the field and take a late lead, and then your runner-up MVP quarterback decides he's going to lock in again on A.J. Brown and throw yet another horrific pass. So the Eagles end up losing 20-17, their third straight loss, the first time they've lost three straight under Nick Sirianni since 2021. So let's walk through it. All right, Tone. So a couple things. Let's start. I want to begin with this. And we're going to do our usual dive into the defense, into the offense, as we always do, and kind of look at the big picture. But let's start with this one. The two final sequences, basically, that ended the game. So there's a minute 24 left. The Seahawks have one timeout because they have foolishly burned two. In fact, one of the timeouts, you allowed the Eagles to challenge it and get a sack out of it. Pete Carroll got outcoached in a massive way, and he still ended up winning the game. Okay. Beyond that, so there's a minute 24 left. Braden Mann actually does a great job, drops that thing down at the 8-yard line. All right. So your punter couldn't have done better for you than he did. 124 left, one timeout, 92 yards to go with Drew Lock. And Drew Lock proceeds to go 4 for 4 for 88 yards and 82 yards, excuse me, and a touchdown on that final drive. A final drive which consisted of drives where you had an 18-yard passing play, a 34-yard passing play, and a 29-yard touchdown to Jackson Smith-Njigba. Okay, that's how you lost that game. Well, that's part A. Part B, the Eagles get the ball back with enough time to drive down the field with two timeouts, with the talent that they have. They get it to the 45 with 12 seconds left and two timeouts in your back pocket to be able to utilize it. And arguably, if not the best kicker, the second best kicker behind Justin Tucker, and a clutch kicker at that. We know that.
Right.
So instead of throwing a 15-yard pass, which would have put you in field position to kick it, a force into double coverage again. This is on the heels of an earlier fourth quarter interception where you tried it. For some reason, someone thought it was a good idea to throw the ball to Quez Watkins. And that ends the game, and the Eagles lose. Inexplicable that could happen to that team in that circumstance, and the way that it did. And it is just really a window in the way the last three games have gone for this team.
Well, this is a pretty simple equation, right? The fact of the matter is, this is a bad football team. Flat out. They're a bad football team, and they don't deserve to be in the playoffs, if you ask me. They don't deserve to be in the mix. They don't really deserve to be talked about these days because of how abysmal the product is and how lackluster the body language and the attitude is on the field every day. How lackluster the coaching is, right? I was watching this game last night with zero emotion. Zero emotion.
Yep.
I was just watching this game go by, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, they can win this game. All right. Pete Carroll's kind of making it easy for him. He's just blowing timeouts. They're not really doing anything spectacular. So the Eagles, okay, they're on pace to win this game. And I don't know, when Jason Kelce got that false start at the goal line and made them settle for a field goal instead of a touchdown, I thought to myself, they're going to lose this game. But as the game progressed, I'm like, okay, maybe not. But still, that was the first moment that was the first moment in the game where doubt crept into my mind. I thought to myself, oh, they're going to lose this game because you had an opportunity to go up by 2 touchdowns.
Right.
Instead, you only up by 10 points. And a team as well coached as the Seahawks, they're going to find a way to put some points on the board. But the least you can do is create some distance to make their job harder. And lo and behold, they lost the game. And another part of the game, I thought to myself, wow, offense, you have a chance to really put this game away. You're moving the ball. All of a sudden, Jalen Hurts throws the ball to Quez Watkins. I have no idea why he threw that ball.
No, I'll never understand why he's on the field, Tone.
Not just like my first thought was, why are you throwing it to Quez Watkins? Like he's not going to fight for the ball. He's a liability. But then my second thought was, Jalen, why throw that ball anyway, regardless of who it is?
Or Tone, you either throw it out of the back of the end zone or where only your guy can catch it. He is consistently throwing deep shots underthrown every single time. But go ahead. Sorry.
Because he doesn't have the arm strength.
Or his mechanics stink. And you look at the
timing is off. He's waiting too long to let go.
Yep.
And we've had that problem all year. So which is it, Eagles fans? Does he not have the arm strength or is his timing off? Y'all pick one. I don't really give a damn.
Yeah.
So Jalen Hurts was awful yesterday.
Yep.
He was awful.
Again.
Awful. And he owned it in the press conference, he owned it. But he also indicated that he doesn't sense any commitment from his teammates. He doesn't sense commitment in the room.
Yep.
And then I think one of the reporters asked him, what does he mean by that? What do you mean by commitment?
And then I don't have a dictionary.
And he said, I don't have a dictionary on me, so I'll have to get back to you on that one. Like,
by the way, don't throw commitment thing out there and think that people aren't going to follow up. And don't give me the dictionary thing. Come on, man, stop. You know what I mean? Like, just own it.
Yeah. The fact of the matter is, elaborate. You said it, so they're going to bite on it. Yeah. All you had to do was say, well, I just feel like we're not on the same page, and we got to do a better job of just making sure we're all in alignment. As simple as that. You know what I mean? But look, it was a frustrating night all across the board. And I felt like initially the game plan was pretty solid. Initially, they ran the ball.
First drive was great again. I mean, it was beautiful.
They ran the ball very well, actually. But in that second half, you got a sense of them getting away from it. Yeah. You got this feeling that they were getting away from what was working, and they were getting a little greedy. You limit this team. You held the Seahawks to no red zone conversions. You held them to only 100 yards rushing. They threw for under 200 yards. You had more first downs. You were more efficient on third down, more efficient on fourth down. You ran more plays than them. You had more yards than them, but you had more turnovers than them. And that's where the game was lost.
No doubt. And what else is new, right? I mean, so let's pick up on that for a minute here. It's been a problem with them all season, Tone. They have a -6 turnover differential. That's the 27th worst in they're fifth from the bottom in the NFL. Last year, they were the 3rd best team. And he already has, for the season, 17 turnovers, which is tied for the most in the NFL. He's a turnover machine, whether it's a fumble or an interception. And, last year he had 6. Okay.
He's going to have 20 before the year's over.
With ease. He'll easily have 20. I mean, he's averaging how many games have they played? They played 14 games, right? And he's got 17. So he's averaging more than a turnover per game. It's a huge, huge issue with this team in general. I mean, they were up 10-0 in the second quarter. They scored 7 points the rest of the way. And, we're going to sit here and focus on the Desai, and rightfully so, on the Desai and Patricia thing, and we'll talk about it a ton. Don't get me wrong.
That defense looked exactly the same.
Right. It looked exactly the same. And you could say, well, they only gave up 20 points, and that's fine. I'm not debating that. But when they had to have a
Besides
stop
done that
late,
before.
right, when they had to have a
That
stop
wasn't
late,
spectacular.
no, but when they had to have a stop late, they couldn't get it. But even if you just putting that aside, which we'll get to in a minute, the offense has averaged 16.3 points per game last 3 games with a runner-up MVP quarterback, with the offensive line, and we always hear about AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, DeAndre Swift, and Dallas Goedert. You've averaged 16.3
How's that
points per
possible?
game. You haven't cracked 20 in 3 games. Think about that.
How is
You
that
cracked
possible?
20 in 3 games, man.
With that group of talent, how is that possible?
What it reeks of me, and they won't do this because it already looks bad that you bounced one of your coordinators. Brian Johnson
they bounced the wrong guy. I'm telling you.
They bounced the wrong guy, and Brian Johnson's way over his head. Okay. But the problem is it makes the front office look bad. It makes Nick Sirianni look bad because he wears ownership in this thing too. And they don't want that part, which is more related to them on the offensive side, to show through than they do the defense. So let's just scapegoat Desai. And believe me, I'm not telling you Desai did a good job, but I'm telling you, Brian Johnson is equally or more inept than Desai.
Here's the thing, man. Did Sean Desai have a bad 3-game stretch? Did he have a bad stretch against, Bills, Niners, and Cowboys? Yeah, he had a bad stretch, right? Mm-hmm. Did he show us games throughout the season where he was able to put it together, like the Chiefs game, like the Rams game, the Buccaneers game? Like, he had games where even at first the Cowboys game, defense held them to 23 points.
Yeah.
So there were moments where Sean Desai was like, okay, he's figuring it out. But then you also knew he doesn't have the talent.
Correct.
But then you demote him, right? And look, we spoke about it yesterday, right? Maybe the change was needed. We spoke about that yesterday, and I
have no problem if you feel like you can't go any farther with that. I have no problem making that change.
Right. But what makes it more annoying is you kept him in the building. That's annoying. And on top of that, we all knew it's a personnel issue, but we're like, okay, you guys think it's coaching. We'll see. Let's find out. And granted, how much can you really see a difference in just one game or just a week of preparation with the new
exactly voice? It's too early to judge that.
But also, I'm willing to say this: you decided to fire Sean Desai, you decided to fire Sean Desai right before the schedule got easier.
Right.
I don't know how I feel about that. And it's so funny, if you're listening to the show, you may say to yourself, well, damn, yesterday, Tone, you said this. How are you saying this today? This is how bad or how annoying the Philadelphia Eagles or how exhausting they become. They're so all over the place in their decision-making. They're causing us who dissect what they do to kind of be all over the place and try to make sense of their actions. Like, I'm looking at this team. I'm looking at front office. I'm saying to myself, what's the plan? What's the goal? What's the vision? What are you trying to accomplish here? It's that building is in pure chaos.
Yep.
Pure chaos. And I firmly believe you got rid of the wrong guy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's offensively, this is a disaster. It's a disaster right now. And the quarterback is regressing. We don't want to use the R word. I get it. It's a tough word to swallow if you're an Eagles fan, but it's true. He's getting worse.
He is. Let's get it real. He is.
There's 2 examples last night I want to give you. One, on the Manning cast, which I normally don't watch. I'll be honest with you. Okay. I watch the regular ESPN broad, whatever.
Same.
To each their own. I don't, watch it, knock yourself out. But I do that, and I listen to Merrill and Mike. Okay. But on the Manning cast, I know this because I watched the clip of it today. They had one of their guests last night was Christian McCaffrey. And there was a draw play that Jalen ran, which went nowhere. It was the Seahawks sniffed it out. They knew exactly. It was like they were in the huddle. Okay. They knew exactly what was coming. Jalen had no chance. So McCaffrey basically called the play out, knew exactly what it was, exactly where it was going to go, and laid it out as they're watching the game unfold live. That's what they do on the Manning cast. It's the two Manning brothers, and they have a guest, and they're commenting on what's happening during the game. Okay. He called the play. There's that. So that tells me how predictable this thing is. I saw I'll give you one more. I'm going to give you 2 more things. Dan Orlovsky, who I really respect the fact that the guy actually does the homework of watching the tape and legitimately does. Okay. He's not just firing things off, however you feel about him. He does dig into the tape. So he tweeted this out a little bit earlier, 2 hours ago. Eagles offense has to stop running the same 3-4 plays over and over and over again if they aren't gashing the defense. It's 2x2 stack RPO. It's 3x1 Goddard over the ball, empty Hank, RZ or PRO. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get into the weeds and the sauce of all the technicalities of what he means by that. But the bottom line is, if a guy who played in the NFL, who watches a lot of film, is telling you that you're predictable and you're running the same stuff, don't you think defensive coordinators know that? Those guys who get paid to do that for a living, defensive coaches. Okay. So that's the other part of this thing. And lastly, just look at Jalen's mechanics on the 2 interceptions last night. It's back foot bad. That's why you get nothing on it, by the way, with the way that he's throwing the ball. Okay. That's why it's underthrown and it looks like a punt, when he lofts it up there.
It's a rainbow or some shit.
It's a rainbow. Exactly right. Yeah. You do have to put some touches on balls, but he's putting it's like I said, it's a punt waiting to come down. Anyway, those things to me reek of, you have massive issues on offense. And, could they certainly go out and beat the Giants and the Cardinals? Yeah, of course they could. But
I don't know anymore.
No, and it's a fair thing to question. But what does that mean ultimately? What does it mean for you in the playoffs? Like, could you get a lucky draw where you get some, a Rams team who's not terrible, by the way, but I'm just giving you an example, and you beat them? Yeah. But you know what, Tone? If you get bounced in the next round, who freaking cares that you won one game? You were within 3 points of winning the whole thing last year. And here you are now. And really, both sides of the ball have major problems. You can't score, and you've already bounced your defensive coordinator. It is come unglued in the last 3 weeks.
And it was all self-inflicted. Those who want to jump out the window and say, Jalen Hurts hasn't regressed. What are you talking about? It's this person's fault. It's that person's fault, right? In life, you're either getting better or you're getting worse. We're never the same people each and every day. Yep. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. You're either improving or you're declining. You're either elevating or you're sinking. Jalen Hurts is currently sinking.
Yeah.
Sinking slow.
And there's no lifeboat coming. There's no raft coming from.
There's no raft. You want to know why?
SOS. Yeah.
There's no raft. You want to know why? Because there's no one he trusts to give him a raft.
Who's got the raft? The guy in Indianapolis has the raft.
Exactly. He has the raft.
Yep.
And this is eerily similar to what happened to Carson Wentz, right? A guy gives you this spectacular season that gets you into the big game. The following year, you see this somewhat herky-jerkiness to his game. The offensive coordinator's gone.
Yeah, it's 2020. Here we go.
Yeah. The defense isn't as good.
Yep.
Coaching becomes questionable. However you want to slice it, right? But Jalen Hurts is regressing in front of our eyes. Now, here's the thing. Can he salvage this? Yeah, he can get better. Sure. But honestly, this season is done. This season, this 2023 season, you guys, pack it in. This Philadelphia Eagles team that you saw last night, you think they go to the Super Bowl? You think they can beat the 49ers or even the Cowboys? Hell, I don't even know if they can beat the Lions. Like, let's be frank about this. Be honest with yourself. Take your heart away from it. Keep it real with what you saw. Because everything I'm saying to you right now, you felt it last night, but you want to play different here today. This Philadelphia Eagles team is not built. They're not ready. They don't have it. They don't have it, Philadelphia. So we're always going to watch the games. That's what we do. We're fans. We're going to watch the game.
Yeah.
We're locked in. We can't help ourselves. We know we're gluttons for punishment. But just know, this Philadelphia Eagles team, as they're currently built, as they're currently being coached, are going nowhere. And I don't mean to break your heart, but welcome to the Lonely Hearts Club. Well, welcome to the what is it? The Heartbreak Hotel. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. It's not a place you want to be. You don't want to be
Bring
residing there.
bring your luggage. Get
Well,
comfortable.
so to me, I mean, I always go to the top when I look at these things, right, and how we got here. And there were poor decisions made in the coaches that you brought in. Clearly, you've already admitted one with Sean Desai, and the more and more you watch this, the more and more you shake your head with Brian Johnson, right? I understand that one might be a little bit more complicated because of his relationship with Jalen. I get that, but no, here's where I'm going. I don't care.
Okay, cool.
Right, I don't care. So that is bad in and of itself. The other part of this thing is clearly, and I'm talking more in this instance about defense, but you clearly didn't value certain things that needed to be valued more. And I get you're in there's a salary cap business, and sometimes you got to bite a bullet and let guys go. But there were too many guys who could have contributed to you that you let go. And the other thing is Nick Sirianni, it doesn't feel like he has any idea how to get it back on track.
He has no control.
That's the problem.
He has no control.
Right.
Rob, he has no control.
Yeah.
He has no control. I don't think those listen, man. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, man. And I have no evidence and I have no source to back this up, but this is just how I feel about it. And this is just what it looks like. They don't respect that man. That man ain't got no respect in that building. If you ask me, they don't respect that man.
Yeah.
Look, 3-game losing streak under the current circumstances. Nick Sirianni looked like this week has to be an all-time low for him. You go out there and show your ass talking about, yeah, you know, decide we have the utmost faith in him. You know, he's our guy. I believe in the people in his building. And all of a sudden, 2 days later, well, we found out on Sunday, but 9 times out of 10, the decision was made because all of a sudden they're doing a padded practice on, what was it, Wednesday?
Wednesday, right.
So you guys changed the schedule up to get some, to get some grass time in. Why? Because you made the decision then. You sent Sean Desai out there as a lame duck defensive coordinator, had him speak to the media, and nothing came of it. And I'm watching this game, right? And every time they put that camera on him, I just felt so. I got secondhand embarrassment. Every time they put that camera on that man, I got secondhand embarrassment because I'm thinking to myself, why you got this man here? Why, man?
Well, I think too, the big thing is, you know, there's two other things that also on top of it that worry me. One, the quarterback's getting worse, and that you can't have it. You can't have it, and they don't have any ideas how to figure this thing out. And yeah, I saw Coach Marcus in the chat say that, you know, all this is the stuff every coach has to go through, take his lumps like everybody else. Yeah, you're right, no doubt. But it troubles me that after the way they went down, and I get it. Like if you want to say, hey, the 49ers are the best team in football, and I'm not going to argue that at all. Or Dallas had revenge on their mind and they play great at home. Okay, fine. I'll buy that. I'll buy both of those reasons. This was a team in the Seahawks that had Drew Lock playing quarterback. He had 8 career wins going into the game last night. 8 career wins. They were missing 2 of their starters in the secondary, and 1 was benched for the first drive. Tyreek Woolen. Okay. They had lost 4 in a row. They were in the bottom of every legitimate category, and you lost to that team. There's no more sugarcoating this stuff, man. It's not acceptable what's happening with this team anymore. And to just think that this is a little blip on the radar, I think you're being foolish. I really do. This is it's much bigger than that.
Real quick before we go to break, a blip on the radar would have been this happening. No, a blip on the radar was Jets game.
Right. That
was a blip on the radar.
Yep.
I don't even care about that loss. It happened, but I don't care about it.
Yeah.
That was a blip on the radar. What we're seeing, context is everything. Nuance is everything. How they're losing, who they're losing to, and when they're losing.
Yep.
This is a bad football team, and they're getting worse at the possible time. This doesn't just, when the playoffs start, they don't just get better all of a sudden. They don't just flip a switch. This team is underwater and they're drowning. And guess what? It's going to be a slow death because they won't die into the playoffs. They're in. So, you guys think they're going to go on this magical run in the playoffs and win every road game? Listen, man, this team ain't beating the Lions. I mean that. I'm willing to go. I'm willing to fall on that sword. They're not beating the Lions. They are the fourth best team. Actually, the Seahawks beat them. So I don't know. Are they the fifth best team?
I don't know. I mean, here's what I think. Do I think they can still be the third best team in the NFC? Yes. But if you're asking me if they get San Fran either home or on the road, I don't think they win. If they get Dallas in Dallas, I don't think they win. Is there a chance they could beat Dallas in Philly? Yeah, because Dallas is night and day, home and away. They're totally different teams.
That's true.
So that's possible. But again, the objective with this team is to win the whole thing.
Not just go to the party.
No, the thing, getting in 2021 was great because you stunk the year before. You were thrilled with that. You know, whatever happened, you got in. It's not where they are at this point. And let me just two last things, and then we'll dive into the offense a little bit deeper when we get back. The fact that your quarterback's getting worse and your defensive line, which you put everything into, all your resources, money, draft picks, etc. And I know they had 2 sacks last night, Tone, but your defensive line is coming up so small for this team.
Yeah, they're not getting there were moments in that game I'm thinking to myself, yo, they're not getting home. What the hell's the issue? Like, what is it? Like, there was a moment in that game where I think Drew Lock had all the time in the world.
Yeah.
And look, man, they got issues.
They do.
And they're not going to be solved. They're not going to be solved this season.
Well, let's come back and let's really get into the quarterback specifically and what's going on with him, because there's a lot of people deflecting, a lot of people laying it on Johnson and Sirianni, and I'm not saying,
of course they are,
and I'm not saying they aren't to blame in this as well, but to me there's a big Jalen problem.
Well, Rob, last thing, this is a group effort.
Sure.
By the way, everybody's getting smoked.
No doubt.
So I don't know why people want to just act like Jalen doesn't deserve any smoke. They're all getting smoked. This is a group ass whooping they're getting.
Yeah, it is.
And it ain't gonna stop until 2 p.m. Eastern time. So buckle up.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. Seatbelts are on. They're fastened. Let's roll into the next segment. We'll go offense, then we'll go defense, and then we'll look at the big picture of things as well. All right, I want to tell you about Bravo Pizza of Havertown. Bravo Pizza of Havertown, thrilled that they're a part of the channel, part of the station as well. Family owned since 1985. I've been going there since I was a little kid, still go there each and every single week. The absolute best variety that you could get, 20 different styles of pizza, slices to go. They have the you name it, they'll make it. That's right. Specialized pizza, however you like it. But if you don't like pizza, if you're just not up for pizza that night, they have fresh pasta, they have salads, they have wings, they have wraps, you name it. The other great thing about Bravo Pizza of Havertown is they're committed to the community. They have fundraisers for charities, for little leagues, and schools as well, where the proceeds go to those organizations. You could follow them on Facebook and Instagram at the Bravo Pizza of, for daily specials and promotions. They are, you can give them a call right now, actually, 610-446-3810, 610-446-3810. They are located in the Manoa Shopping Center on Westchester Pike in Havertown, Pennsylvania. Bravo Pizza of Havertown.
I remember getting my heart broken when they lost the Super Bowl in 2004. We're big Eagles fans. We moved to South Philly because of the Eagles. When they won, we went straight to Broad Street, and everybody was going nuts over there, and it was just a memory that you'll never forget.